Welcome to the New York Outlook for Friday, the 17th of November 2023. Referring to the news, there isn't anything that's red folder remaining for the day except for building permits, which comes out in about 30 minutes' time. I'll quickly run through the pairs that are quite relevant to my trading, and then I'll focus on USDCAD and gold, as those are the pairs that I picked out to trade for the day from the London session. Looking at gold on looking at GBP USD on the 4 hour, what you can see is we're still waiting for backing. In terms of Euro USD, yesterday the 4 hour swing high was wicked, and thus I'm not comfortable with playing ERL continuation momentum because it's more likely than not that the momentum has run out. On AUD USD, there was reason to both long and short this morning. However, it's quite messy, and I'd rather avoid the mess on on secondary pairs and rather focus on a pair that's cleaner, which then leads me to USD CAD and gold. On USD CAD, I was waiting for the range to be tapped before I considered any short positions. Unfortunately, what then happened is price just plummeted without tapping the range, which doesn't meet the requirements of my plan, and it looks like it looks like it's unlikely that price will return back in the day. It's more likely to actually come down and tap this secondary OB. Perhaps just for context, on USD CAD, the trend isn't confirmed, so we had a change of character in the trend, and then price came into a pro trend, previously confirmed trend OB, because this trend was established. As you can see, the bullish trend both was fully in control, which then created this pro trend, previously confirmed trend OB, from which a primary leg was then created, and that's what we tapped into, subsequently creating the secondary OBs. But yeah, I don't foresee any trades being valid on USD CAD for the rest of the day. Even if price comes into this OB, what essentially will end up happening is the market will create a New York base low of today, which would invalidate my trade direction in terms of if I wanted to go long. But my idea for the day was to go short, and that played out quite nicely. Unfortunately, it didn't come or react from the area I anticipated. And now looking at gold. So throughout the morning, well, throughout the London session, that is, I've been focused on gold trading, primarily looking for shorts from this area. However, what happened is that area flipped and became higher into this next pro trend unconfirmed OB, and now we're reacting from that. What is not ideal about shorting now is essentially prices tapped into this range, which supports longs, but we haven't tapped the refinement, and we can, I guess, somewhat assume that perhaps this sell candle is maybe liquidity. Looking at it from a 5 minute perspective, what you will see is just before the lull, we made a London high of the day, and then during the London lull, we made a change of character validation with this bearish candle. Subsequently, it's not evident immediately that supply is actually in control. So coming into the New York session, we have a couple of considerations. The first being that the London session will need to be swept before we can validate any New York trading. And for that to happen, one of two levels need to break. If we break the high of the day for London, that means New York is creating the high of the day, which then invalidates our trading and suggests that longs were the correct direction and shorts are invalid. From a long perspective, we can justify longs technically based on the fact that Yeah, this is based on the fact that we essentially tapping a 4H OB right here. Rather, actually, we're tapping the 4H range if you consider that to be the range, which then gives us IRL to consider. This being the IRL being created, this being the last point of IRL, and essentially the only space we've got to continue to trade long would be for um would be this area, because once we pass through this area over here, then we're trading against a 4HOB and that invalidates longs in that area. So neither situation is ideal. From what I can tell, given where price is and the idea to short, I don't think it makes sense, because what would need to happen is this would need to be taken out, and then, as I said, New York will put in the high of today, suggesting that the intended daily direction was longs rather than shorts. And then, from a long perspective, there's potential for price to come down, take out this London session liquidity, and then we would need a full order flow shift during New York to then validate longs to target this. That is requiring quite a lot of order flow shifts and validations to happen in a relatively small piece of time, and I'm not quite sure if that will play out for today. So I'll monitor the situation quite closely, but I don't foresee a valid high probability setup setting up on gold. That brings me to the end of the New York outlook.